Hello, everyone. Good evening. If you are able to see us, please type a message or give us a thumbs up. Yeah, I think we are live. Let's wait for a few more seconds. Hello, good evening, everyone.
Good evening, everyone.
Okay, so let's start then. I think we have significant number of people available to start. So good evening again, everyone. This is OT Security Huddle 6, and today we are going to discuss about the journey towards setting up a security operation in industrial control system. Today, along with Manjunath, we have one more guest, so Saurabh Suman. Saurabh Suman, you know from LinkedIn. He has been doing lots of courses on Udemy lately, and they are wonderful course. I myself have reviewed them. The content is really good, so you may would like to go and then see some courses which have been published over there. Before I hand it over to Saurabh, let me quickly give you an overview. This is ES3, you all know us by now, I guess. And before we proceed, there is a friendly this auto security huddle is an outcome of our interest towards auto security. This has nothing to do with the professional work that we are doing. So anything we say here, anything we discuss here, should not be read as the uh, perspective from the organization we are associated with. So, quick introduction of Saurav again. He is having close to 12 years of experience in cybersecurity. He has done GICSP and CNSS. In OT areas, he have expertise in oil and gas vertical, power generation vertical, steel manufacturing, and food processing. And these are a bunch of courses that he has listed. Maybe I'll give him some time to speak about these courses, how he has come up with the idea of putting these wonderful courses. I think he was the one of the initiator of these courses on Udemy before I see anything else coming on OT. Yeah, so that's about Saurav, and this is our friendly disclaimer. Now, over to you, Saurav, um, before you start speaking, I'll give you a friendly thanks to Manju, you again, for collaborating with Saurabh and then setting it up. And thanks, Saurabh, for accepting the invite and taking the time to share your views on setting up the security operations for industrial control system. Over to you, Saurabh.
Yeah, hi everyone. Good good evening, good afternoon. So basically, I'm located in Netherlands, so that's why I'm a bit confused about good afternoon and good evening. And so hi everyone. I don't know how many people are there. So how many people are there, Shiv, right now?
Currently, there are close to 35.
Okay. Oh, that's useful. That's making me a bit nervous. So we will just discuss something basic, some learnings from what I have done in the projects. Like we set up a SOC center. So I have set up a SOC center, basically typically OT SOC we can say. So these OT SOCs are set up on premise also and on cloud also. So we'll discuss about those things in this huddle. And this is my first time on this huddle. So thank you for inviting me, Shiv and Manjunath. And it's all learning. So we will something we will learn today. That's our motto. Maybe I will also learn something. You will also learn something new. So that's the motto of this call basically. So further proceeding ahead, we should make a confusion clear that SIEM in SOC, these two are basically different things. Do not get confused with the SIEM. and with SOC. So SIEM is basically a software solution. You can find number of SIEM solutions like a Splunk. It could be IBM Radar, or it could be Exabeam, Logarithm. There are lots of SIEM solutions. Elastic ELK Stack is also there. SIEM solutions are available in the market. So these are just a tool. What it does, it takes all your logs and it gives you insights from those logs. It could be in the form of the event, it could be in the form of the alerts, it could be in the form of incidents also. It correlates from several log sources. It correlates from the similar devices. Like let's suppose you have 15 PLCs or 15 HMIs. It will correlate the similar type of data and then will give you an insight. So that's the function. That is a there is a bare or minimum human role associated with a SIEM solution. But when we talk about the SOC solution, so here we need to consider it consists of three things. So that is the people, process, and technology. So people plays a major role in the SOC. So it's like people are sitting with some technologies and there are set of processes. So people will do some task according to the process by using the technology. This is what in a SOC people does. So I think that's the more what I can say. Like this is a one of the comparisons or differentiations between SIEM and SOC solution.
Yeah,
Okay.
the very wonderful point, Saurabh. Maybe I just interject. This is the first preliminary concept that people get confused of. What is the difference between SIM and SOC? So
Yeah.
yeah, this makes us clear that SIM is a solution tool, whereas SOC is the expertise and the investment in the people, and maybe some advanced technology like artificial intelligence. What you will derive out of the data that is available in uh, the SIM solutions, or maybe other tools that you put for the security operations. One of the example for this is the forensic analysis tools that are available today.
Yeah.
Yeah, so very good point that you made the differentiation clear.
Yeah. Correct. So let's move ahead. So now we'll talk more about the SOC thing. So SOC, like as we said, it is a basic thing to be done by people, process, and technology. So what type of functional aspects or functional areas consist in the SOC? So SOC will have a command center, basically a control room, you can say, or you can say SOC operating center, security operations center, or something like that. There will be visualization of the log data. So when we design a SOC room, we always think of the big panels where analyst can see all those logs in the detail, or we will have a ergonomically designed control rooms where there will be 24 into 7 monitoring of these alerts of the event. Then threat intelligence could be one of the part, because that need to be used with the incidents or the alerts whatever we have received, and then matched to the proper intelligence to identify whether it is a attack. So let's suppose if some type of attack happened, how would you identify that this is a Paytm attack, or this is a mitre this is a Triton attack, or this is any other attack. So that for that thing you need a threat intelligence also. Then forensics tools will be there. So like hard disk data recovery tools, or there could be a security onion that is also very good tool to check, or pcap analysis tools. Then threat hunting is not a tool. Threat hunting is an activity to be performed by someone who has a knowledge of threat hunting. Threat hunting means like he will analyze, he will deep dive into the logs, and then they will find something from the logs that okay, this is the behavior of some adversary. So there are several apts acting in the world. So they have a certain behavior. Some apts try to send you a malware through the email. Some apts try to put data through the usb. Some apts try to do a wireless interference. So that is their behavior, that mapping, and need to decode that thing with the existence of the like data in the logs, and then they map those things to find something related to that. Then investigation or any type of automated response. So nowadays SOAR platforms are also soaring. I can say SOAR platforms are also soaring. So those type of things are there which can automate your regular task. Like if someone some basic mistakes are there. So let's suppose if you accidentally entered password twice time, so SOAR will have a automated rule set to how to tackle those type of incidents. Then a steering committee plays a vital role here. Steering committee means the management of the SOC, so that they can drive that what processes you need to follow, what type of scanning you have to do, when you have to do the scanning, or or who will be responsible who for incident handling, or who will be responsible for recovery, who will be. So that steering committee plays a vital role. It's the management thing of the SOC, we can say. And coordination collaboration is always key. So if ICS team and your SOC team are not coordinated or collaborated, then that will be a mayhem, or it will be disaster there. So let's suppose ICS teams are issuing permits and permits day in day out, and there are a plethora of logs available in the SOC, and they are not able to detect whether it's a false positive or false negative. So there, collaboration is required between ICS team and OT security team, or we can say SOC team. So these are some of the functional aspects. There are a lot of functional aspects available in the SOC operation SOC. So these are just main things we need to keep in mind when we talk about SOC.
Yeah, just one point, Saurabh, I would like to ask you. Like you gave a good functional area overview of the security operations center. One of the key points that you mentioned is about the behaviors of different APTs.
Correct.
So, what are the good resources to identify, according to you, or maybe with your experience? Maybe Manju can also pitch in here. How would we identify these indicators of compromise, or maybe the behavioral characteristics of those APT groups? What could be the good resources?
Yeah, so for that's why threat intelligence comes first. So threat intelligence includes those behaviors basically. So threat intelligence comes like if you want some free sources, there are free sources like Mandiant releases indicator of compromise, or you can get it from ICS advisory project is also available there. They have also a good source of these behaviors. Apart from that, if you want to deep dive more, then Maitre has a very good resource. Like they have list of all those adversaries and how they have done attack in the previous, like in history, how they have done. Otherwise, there are custom threat intelligence specific to your industry can be also deduced from the data available, or you can buy some of the subscriptions. Like some companies are there, they are selling out this threat intelligence specific to your industry. So let's suppose you are in Middle East region and you are in oil and gas business, then your threat intelligence, a threat scenario will be different from what I have in Netherlands, or someone producing food or mangoes in India. So the threat will be different for different customers. So I suggest first, if you are at the lower maturity level, you have just a SOC center or you have just a SIEM solution, and you just want to get some threat intel, just start with the free ones, whatever is available. Once you are accustomed or adapted to those things, then better go for the curated or customized threat intelligence solutions. It could be online sources, or you can hire some consultant, or you can go for companies like these Accenture, or maybe there are many companies available. They provide threat intelligence specific to your industry.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
I think to add that, I think Dragos and Kaspersky, they also release, that intelligence reports,
Yeah.
specifically on APT groups. I think I have seen, Dragos are doing a tremendous job there, and they are, just not to highlight only their work, but when we look at the program, so I mean the report, we get a lot of threat intelligence information there. And just to I have one question about the the previous slide where security operations center. I think in people's mind, when we create a security operations center in the functional areas, what you have mentioned, it's great points. And then steering committee and the coordination and collaboration is the major one, which I feel. Also, who should handle it? I mean, whether it is IT team who heads this or OT team. So those kind of questions, maybe moving forward along with your presentation, maybe you can touch upon those areas.
Yeah, yeah. So absolutely valid point. So maybe you are uh, able to answer this. I would also like to pitch in. This is the obvious question that everybody would ask: that what is the difference between an IT SOC and OT SOC? So definitely we tend to answer this in this session, but maybe sort of you take it up and then I'll like.
Yeah, we have a special, I think, data to answer this question. So I will take this question in my mind, and when we will discuss that topic, we'll answer this question also.
Yeah. So let's get ahead then to the workflow of a security operations center.
Yeah. So for like SOC will always have a workflow. You will not find a workflow for the SIEM, or you will not find a workflow for the antivirus or endpoint solution, because those are the softwares or the tools. But this is a process. So here is a workflow, and this workflow comes from the NIST cybersecurity program. So if you read NIST 882 version, then you will find there are the steps for incident handling, incident management program. So in SOC also, apart from the monitoring, like monitoring comes from your SIEM solution or whatever solutions you have implemented. So basically for the OT, what you can implement the solutions for security monitoring. It could be an Ozumi, it could be Dragos, it could be Clarity, it could be Tenable OT, or you will have all those logs from the devices in form of the syslogs, or from those networks it could be in form of snmp traps, iflow, jflow. So all those logs, those comes under the umbrella of monitoring. So now you have the monitoring data, then you can do the triage. So for what thing you will do triage, and what is triage basically? So let's suppose after the monitoring, SIEM gave some alert that this could be a potential incident. SIEM gave you alert that this could be a potential incident. Then trials is an activity where we check whether this incident is a false positive or is a false negative. Does this incident has a probability of consequences in my system or not? So this type of analysis we do in the trial stage. If that is done, then we go for identifications. Okay, now we have done this, so what is this activity? Okay, this could be malware insertion in our network, or it could be a stealing some information from our network, or it could be a persistent threat putting inside my network, or a trojan or worm. So that type of identification we need to do. Then we do a investigation. Once that investigation is done, if it is performed by level 1 analyst, so in SOC basically there is a team structure also. So we have two level 1 or 3 or 4 level 1 analysts, then we will have level 2 analyst, and then we can have one cybersecurity engineer and one SOC manager also. And in OT security you can keep OT security engineer or ICS engineer also. That is also free. There is no any fixed model of the team. So whatever suits you best, you can keep like that. So escalation matrix will be there. So if level 1 analyst cannot identify or investigate, then that need to be transferred to the level 2 analyst or level 3 analyst as well. And then incident response. So what we are going to do with that? So whatever has happened, then if you have done something or if you are going to do something, then you have to communicate it properly to the stakeholder. So stakeholder management or PR or that communication channels need to be put in the place. So to whom, if something happens in your plant, so let's suppose take a daily example. If plant trips, so to whom you inform to shift in charge informs to plant head, shift in charge informs to business or coal sourcing or oil sourcing, those departments basically. If something massive happens, then we go for PR, or we go to media, we go to tell them. So that type of communication channel should be established. Then if everything is done, you need to do documentation and reporting. Then post-incident analysis, it is called lessons learned and continuous improvement. In continuous improvement, what you can do, you can find what was missing. If we did some mistake, if we take some more time, or we took more time to analyze something, then we need to do training. And then threat hunting. These are continuous activity. So this type of workflow we can set for a SOC basically.
Yeah. All right. So maybe I would like to ask one additional question here. So according to you, which of these steps would require more understanding of the OT infrastructure? Like I see triage and identification for sure. They do require some understanding of the OT protocols and OT devices. According to you, which one is the uh, steps that requires more understanding, and till what level you see that this understanding of OT devices and protocol would be required for this SOC analysis?
Yeah, so for trials, definitely you need to have understanding of process as well as protocols, because let's suppose if and also collaboration here is required. So let's suppose OT operation teams, they have issued some permit to some contractor to do a remote access activity or firmware download in the system, and this activity was not notified to the SOC because still there are no smooth API connections between your SAP or permit system to the SOC systems, whatever is available, like SIEM systems like Splunk, Exavimo, 40 SIEM. So they cannot be directly still. Yeah, there are some solutions right now, but in all the old plants, still they are using SAP systems for permit, and the service now has a good integration with the SIEM solutions, but SAP systems still has very less integration or no integration with the SIEM solution. So basically, here you need to understand that what type of permit was issued, what. So if, let's suppose, permit was issued to replace a IO, or to just replace a transmitter in the field, and that term and that activity is not understood by the people who is sitting in the SOC, how to change a transmitter and what will happen if you change a transmitter, or if you remove an IO card or something like that, then that will be a knowledge gap between this. So for people who are responsible for the triage, identification and investigation, they should have knowledge of OT on protocol level, process level, even from the level 1 till level 1. They also should know how a thermocouple works, how a RTD works. Basic knowledge they should know. uh, then for response part, I think that is the more important, to know at a process level, at DCS level, if you have a DCS or PLC network level, how your network looks like and what type of communication is happening, what are your time sensitive network, if you have a pin network, if you have a PC LAN network in your SIS systems, then you need to know, like, if we do this type of response, what could be the consequences. So let's suppose if you find one HMI infected and you isolated everything, then that can leave your complete operation department devoid of viewing anything. So that could end up in the another type of attack, that could be the loss of view attack. So so the response part is the most critical. If even if you have identified everything, investigated everything, response part should be very critical, and that to be done by expert in consideration with the cyber OT security and operations guy as well. So I think response part is more crucial here.
All right. Do you want to add something here, Manju?
Yeah, I think you already covered. I had the same question in mind, that and as a OT professionals, we should understand the basics. If even if you are working in the security operations center, that is why my previous question was, who has to head this IT SOC, and whether do we have really the security operation center for particular to OT. So I think yeah, Saurabh might consider in the coming slides.
Yeah.
Yeah, so further moving ahead, we'll talk about the on-premise infrastructure installation, or and on-cloud in installation. But prior to that, like you asked that, who should head this SOC, or who will be responsible. So if you see any hierarchy in a plant, if we talk about plant, there will be only one plant head. Okay, so inside, under that plant head, that department comes. Might be they can have a CISO already for their IT systems. So that need to be added with the OT system. So if you read NIST 882 guidelines, it clearly says that IT systems should take ownership of OT SOC or SIEM solution. So they should not remain isolated. They should be in collaboration with this thing. So what you can do, you can put one head of department or something of SOC, and then let him work closely with the CISO. So there could be one CISO in the plant who can look IT systems also and OT systems on a higher level. But under his umbrella, you can put like SOC, OT SOC managers type of things, so that he can closely work. Because if you see the past attacks, whatever has happened, so in some cases, what we have seen, the attacks has come through your IT infra and then inserted into your OT infra, and vice versa is also possible. Nowadays, what is happening, from OT side, someone is entering and hacking your IT stuffs. So that is also, reverse is also possible. So there is a close knit collaboration through one CISO is only. Two CISO solution is not good. We have not seen, like I have not seen till that two CISO solutions, CISO for OT and CISO for IT, in any of the plants or any of the projects. But yes, under same CISO, we have seen many projects where IT and OT both are taken. In some places what we have seen in the same SOC also, what we pushed all the OT data there and just created separate dashboards in the same SOC room. But we added some team members there who has the OT knowledge as well. So in that happens, like if OT person or the plant person operation people sits with the IT guys in the same room, there is a good exchange of knowledge also, and both team learns very fast if they sit together and talk together on the topic. So that's why I this was my view, and this is what I have observed till now. Yeah. So now coming to the infrastructure. So basically, these deployments could be on two modes. It could be on-prem, it could be on infrastructure, but it all depends on the maturity of that organization. So is that organization is matured yet, or or it's still maturing, or very early stage, or it is at it is already at a very higher maturity level. So based on that, we need to define what model fits the solution best or organization best. So why this infrastructure is required? So this infrastructure is basically required to analyze and process the logs. The logs is the reason why do we need any infrastructure for a SOC or SIEM. Not these logs. Can you go to next? Yeah, basically these logs, not those logs actually. So these logs are like your infrastructure logs, like from endpoints or from network, or from any if you have BYOD devices, like bring your own device. It could be a technician's device, it could be a laptops from the vendors or contractors. So those devices, all sorts of the logs we need to manage. But why do we need such a big infrastructure? We need to learn that first. Yes, if can you go to next? Yeah. So uh, how will you find that how much infrastructure you need, or 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 why you need those infrastructures? So for that you need to do basic thing that is called sizing. So in all engineering we do sizing in process automation, but for cybersecurity SOC also you need to do sizing. Three types of sizing you need to do. First one is the bandwidth sizing, another is throughput sizing, and third is the volume sizing. So what is bandwidth sizing? So let's suppose you have a DCS network and it is on 100 Mbps connection. So if you put something on the same, if you start carrying all your data, all your logs on the same network, it might choke your network, and you will trip your own plant with the security solutions. But in OT, we have availability at the utmost importance. So you need to size bandwidth. So let's suppose you have 100 systems. Each system is generating 1 KB of log per second. Then how much log or how much traffic it will occupy? So do we need a separate cable to be laid, or do we need to create a separate VLAN on the existing copper cable or on a fiber optic cable? Or we can, if the log size is very less, can we just accommodate on the same process control network without any interference or not? So that type of study we need to do. Then throughput sizing, it means that on SOC screen, like how fast you want data, you want it near to real time, or little bit delay is also okay. So just this decision can make a very big difference. So it also, throughput sizing also depends on how much budget you have, how much data you want to retain. Like you want to retain same data for 3 years, or you just want to retain same data for 90 days. So we have one example also. We'll see what difference it can make. Then we have volume sizing. So how much data? It's like retain. It's basically about retention. So you want to see your 3 months data at once on the screen, or you want to see just 1 month's data on the screen, and rest you want to put it in archive mode or in cold storage mode. So that's why sizing is very much important whenever you do a log management solution, or you go for the SOC, or you go for the SIEM solution.
Yeah. So with sizing, sort of, do you think this is also one of the yardsticks to have insourcing versus outsourcing of the SOC?
Sizing is basically a feed type of activity. So whenever let's suppose one organization want to set up a SOC, so for SOC they need SIEM. So for SIEM they need a data, like what SIEM is required. So this is a part of front end engineering design. So whenever we do some of the EPC project, we need to first think that what is needed, whether my system is apt, whether it could be achievable or not on the existing infrastructure. So it will give you like infrastructure requirement, it will give you a budget requirement, it will give you a time requirement. So how much time it will take to do this project. Now, uh, now I think sizing is one of the most important thing uh, to design a sock. But if you say that it's the third party or in house, this was your question, correct? So
Yes, yes.
you can do yourself if you have a good team size. You can understand all these things. Then see, it's all depends on the understanding and conceptual knowledge of the engineers in the plant. If they can do this thing, then do it yourself. It's not a rocket science, it can be doable. But if you want someone to do it professionally who has done it hundred of times and you just want him to do flawlessly in your system, then just call a consultant. He can do it in 1 week or 2 weeks max. So that will be a foolproof because he has done it many times. And might be if you do it your own, then you may take 1 month or 2 months or 3 months as well.
Yeah, that learning curve would be there definitely.
Yeah, correct.
So probably in this, yeah, I know this. There will be some calculation you will be showing us. So
Yeah.
the I think when we talk about sizing, even the data historian, when we talk about, also we will, consider that the bulk amount of data. So probably that data could be helpful while calculating this.
Yes, that data will be helpful to calculate your size of logs basically. So whatever is going in historian. So if you see on the screen, it's a Elasticsearch calculation. So first thing comes the EPS. EPS is the event per second. So how much event you are generating right now. So events like you go to your Windows and you check like what are the security events, how many application events, how many uh, other events are coming, or admin events are coming on my system. Or if you go to your firewall, you can check how many events are that firewall is generating as an info warning or info warning or critical. Or same thing you need to check on your switches also, like how many events it is generating. So if you have a good historian that is keeping only the process data. So if you talk about the process control historian, so that is keeping the alarms related to the process which are generated, alarms or the process data like temperature, pressure control, or your all control was functioning, all your process parameters. That historian is a different. But here we are talking about the application security logs or security related events. So if your DCS is enabled to take all those logs, all those everything you are recording there in your historian, but I think I doubt, because they have a limitation of like 1,000 points, 10,000 points in some of the DCS or the PLCs. So we need to check whether security related data are kept in there or not. So let's suppose you have 100 switches in plant and you are storing RAM consumption of each switch, RAM consumption of each computer, each and also hard disk consumption of each computer, also user login events, everything on the historian. Then that would be beneficial. Otherwise, what we need to do, we need to take backup of individual systems, and then we need to check, like go to that folder and check all these datas, uh, how much it is there. So uh, EPS is the, like we need to find EPS by taking backup of your logs, whatever is storing on your computer. There is a specific command like event viewer, and you can just navigate to that file. I have shown this process in one of my chapters also in some course. So you can see I think it's pretty easy to find how many events it is getting generated. Then you have to check what is the size of one event. So basically in some systems we say 400 bytes, in some systems we see 600 bytes. So I have taken here 800 bytes for as a common for the calculation. Then there would be some comparison ratio based on what type of solution you are using. So if you are using Splunk, that could be different compression ratio. If you are using Elastic, there could be a different. But on an average 30% it compresses that data whatever it takes. Then yeah, you were saying something.
Yeah, so I just wanted to ask maybe one more question on the same thing about sizing, and then we are doing this calculation.
Yeah.
Is there a specific yardstick which distinguishes the IT versus OT log collection methodology? That where should we all be collecting these logs for? The devices that we should be bothered more in the OT environment compared to the IT environment.
Mhm. See, thing is similar. So what we have in OT, we have endpoint devices, we have network devices, we have controllers, and we have applications specific to OT environment. So we need to collect logs from each of them. We always need, like, you need to see everything. You need to increase your telemetry data. So whether it could be from the application whitelisting installed on your system, it could be from the endpoint protection solutions installed on each of the computers, it could be from a agent sitting on the system and fetching all those logs, it could be a file reading system, it could be file beats, or any type of solution sitting on your computer. So in European region now, customers are even implementing EDR on their ICS systems. So their maturity is very high. So they are implementing endpoint detection and response systems on each HMIs with support of OEMs as well. So it depends on how rich your telemetry data is that there from the endpoints, from the network devices. And then if you have all those things, apart from that, do you have intrusion detection systems? Do you have continuous monitoring systems like Dragos, Nozomi, Clarity? So if you are at a good maturity level, so let's suppose if you are at maturity level of 3 or 4 or 3 and above, then definitely go for all those defense in depth principles, whatever has been taught in NIST guidelines or in 62443. But if you are just starting with, then whatever you can do, just start with that. So because 62443 also says that continuous monitoring, so you can monitor whatever you can, simple. So alar principle you can follow here as reasonably what is that, as uh, something, at least whatever is possible, simple. In summary, what I can say, it says that start with whatever is possible. So that concept you can go with that.
All right. Yeah. So are we done
So
with the slides? Shall I move on?
no. So based on this EPS, what you can do, you can calculate how much TB of data you can generate in a day. So this EPD is the TB of the data. If you're generating 40,000 logs per second, including your complete infrastructure, then per day you will generate 3.9 TB. So to handle this 3.9 TB of data, you will need, if you are storing those data for 10 days, you will need 39 TB. And if you want to see those data on a SOC dashboard, then you need hot node. Hot nodes are the very fast hard disk, like it will be a SSDs, and it will have very very fast RAMs. Then it will take uh, 8 number of nodes here, you can see calculated nodes. And if you want to keep some data in the warm storage, then that for 3 years, then that will be 4302 TBs, and for that you will need 258 nodes. So one node is means one server, one HPDL 360 server, you can say, or one RX 700 server, or 710 XD, whatever servers you use. So you need 258 plus 8, this 266 servers in your SOC room if you want to store for 3 years.
Yes.
And server configuration, what I've considered here is 32 cores, 128 GB RAM, and SSD 375. This is the ratio is SSD RAM to SSD ratio is 1:30. So if you make it lesser, your data fetch will be fast. So throughput will increase. If you make it more, like 1:100, so for each 1 GB of RAM, you are allocating 100 GB of data to be scanned or queried. Your throughput will reduce. So this is how we balance.
Yeah.
So there is one seam sizing calculator. You can visit to this. This is very good play type of simulator. You can go there. You can put all those sizes, like how many firewalls you have, how many servers you have, and you can just write some number. It will give you a total data size, that on that data size and on sizing data, you can do calculation that how many nodes you will need. You can need. Or I think with all this sizing data, you can have a perception, or you can have a decision that shall we go for a cloud, or we go for on premise, or we store data for longer term, or we store data for shorter term. But there could be one question: why do we store data actually? So we store data for forensic things. If something happens down the line in 2 years, 1 year, so there could be some actual data needed. So at that time we go and we fetch that data and produce it to regulatories whenever it is required. Yeah, so now I think we will collect this data and we'll put it to our SOC. So that's what we are representing. We are collecting all those data from field and putting it to our SOC. It could be a online SOC, it could be offline SOC. So now we'll talk about data collection, that what type of data we need to collect from there. And this differentiates IT SOC and OT SOC, basically. Data collection methods, data collection technologies. So this is the differentiator. So if you see solutions, whatever is available in IT, so they have they have many solutions which could be different from our solutions what we deploy in OT. So Dragos, if we deploy in our OT solutions, they are protocol specific. They can also identify vulnerabilities in DNP3 protocol. They can identify vulnerabilities in 61850 protocol, or in Modbus, or in any proprietary protocol of Rockwell, or any other OEM vendors. So basically, these solutions like Dragos, Nozomi, Clarity, and they have the properties to detect and deal with the communications happening in OT environment. So this one solution set segments that why OT SOC or OT SOC is different. But if you talk about like people and process and technology, only process will remain somewhat similar with IT, but people will change and technology will change. So as I said, the SOC consists of three things. So people and technology differentiates OT SOC from IT SOC, basically. So I think I answered that question.
Yeah, Saurabh, yes, thanks for clarifying that. So since when we talk about OT SOC, I mean there is no such thing called OT SOC. Probably the only thing the data collection methods from OT environment collects. But when we talk about like in normal OT environment, we have seen the control room centers, control center rooms, right? So
Yeah.
where we monitor through HMIs, or big displays what is happening in the process. Similar way, we can just think that this is similar to kind of security operations center. We collect the data, so the
Yeah.
input data points are different. I mean, we are collecting from various endpoints from the levels 1, 2, 3 of all these Purdue model, and then we are showing it. But whoever is sitting there, the people, is
Yeah.
this mix? I think this is where I think people get confused sometimes. Who is sitting there in the SOC? Whether like if someone wants to I mean join as a SOC specialist or analyst from OT background or IT background. So who should sit there? I mean, if you can throw some light based on your experience, like. So that would be added advantage, because I used to get these kind of questions very often. Probably I have not seen much of this
Yeah.
thing. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I got your question, and this is a pretty good question. So, what happens? Like, let's suppose if I want to become a L1 analyst or L2 analyst, I need very basic things to know. How to write a query on Splunk, how to write a query on Elasticsearch. That because if you don't, or Kibana, if you know, Kibana is more familiar thing. I think this is a in situ tool of some of the DCS, inbuilt tool in some of the DCS also. Like Siemens also provides Kibana as their SIEM solution, where it has integrated ELK in the backend. So you need to know how to write queries and what type of queries. So IP address, if you want to find IP address equal to this is IP address, so you can list what are the vulnerabilities or what are the alerts related to this IP address. IP address equal to this and IP address of this. So what and what is the query? So this type of query writing method you need to know. You need to know even if you want to become an L1 analyst simply. But if you are working with the solutions like Exabeam or Logarithm, you do not need to write those queries. They have custom queries already available, very basic, very easily understandable to everyone. Even he do not know or she do not know to write a line of query or code. But nowadays learning curve is very small. Like you can learn it very fast with help of all these chat gpts and these ai tools. If you write there, write me 5 queries to find ip addresses for a Splunk or Elastic, you will straight away get the answer and just type it. So even if you write a wrong query, it will not do anything to the system because you're just monitoring. So if you have the basic understanding of the Splunk, Elasticsearch, or RSA, IBM, whatever solution is implemented there, that is the basic thing is required, not expert is required. Apart from that, you need to know protocol, you need to OT knowledge. I can say OT knowledge, you need 60, 50, 60% you need OT knowledge. You do not need to learn how to plug a RJ45 connector on the cable, what is the color coding of the wires, but you need to understand like what flows in that. Whether that data is TCP or UDP, or if it is a UDP, then what could be the packet loss ratio and those things, or if there is a PCAP, you need to understand what are the port numbers and what are if port number is 22, then what does that mean, or if port number is 123, is that NTP or something else. So that type of knowledge you need a more security knowledge, medium of OT knowledge, and yes, basic operation of that tool what you are using. So tool is not more important, the person is more important basically. So tool you can learn in just 1 week, it doesn't take much time. So OT knowledge plus your security knowledge like PCAP, decoding PCAP, wire socks, and all those things, that much skill is more than enough, I think.
Yeah, just a maybe of perspective over there. Like there are three different layers of analyst that is available: L1, L2, and L3.
Yeah,
So we can make a differentiation at these different roles. I I think that the expertise on OT is required more when we go to layer L2 and L3 analyst.
yeah,
L1 analyst can be borrowed from the IT world as well, because these are the basic query writing and all those stuff. So basic understanding, as you mentioned about the tools, would
yeah,
suffice the requirement in this side of the world as well, because this is all technology. And uh, the working wise, fetching the data and then writing the query wise, it would be same. It's only the analysis part that is differ from the IT world as such in a bigger difference. And that's where the more learning experience and then the understanding of OT specific aspects would be required more.
yeah.
And not only the analyst, I think the collaboration with the real OT engineers would require more in these L2 and L3 level analysis as well. What do you think? This is my perspective.
Yeah, I think that's correct. See, even if you do a SOC project, you need to write job description for each of these analysts as well. So if you find those job descriptions for these analysts for L1, very basic requirement is required. Anyone can become a L1. Just he knows like what I said. I will not repeat that again. So that is more than enough. But at L3, expert is required. I think more OT knowledge, more threat intelligence knowledge, more of troubleshooting knowledge is required at L3 level. So at L3, more experts are there. That's why it is L3. It says any priority one mm, uh, incidents that always go to L2 or L3. Yeah.
Yeah. So we are already in the 50th minute. We have close to 10 more minutes. Maybe we'll take a couple of questions as well. So let's quickly get into these slides first, and then we'll take few questions.
Yeah, so this is just a simple slide. Like it is saying that on DMZ, whether you are going to put your 200 nodes or connect it to your SOC room, or from DMZ just put one log receiver, and it will send like log stats, and it can push all the data to your cloud. It all depends on the organization, how do they see cloud. But thing is that it all depends on the maturity of the customer or the region also. So you can just send all those data through VPN or data diode to cloud, and it's all safe. I have never heard in recent past or lately that Microsoft Sentinel or any cloud based solutions or MSPs has been hacked or got hacked with any type of things. It's all human mistake whenever it happens, basically. So this is just about connecting your data. Uh, there are only two ways here. Yeah. And yeah, there was one concept like geographical segmentation of the data, and it is in Azure also, AWS also, SAP HANA also, Salesforce, whatever cloud you are using. So basically what you can do, let's suppose you have three plants, one in Abu Dhabi, one in Norway, and one in USA, and you don't want to mix all those data. So you can create a workspace. You can select data center in your region, so you can select data center in a specific country, specific city, if Microsoft has. And then you can create those resource groups there, and you keep their data in that geographical region. So it allows your compliance also, so your data will not leave your geographical boundary, and it is safe as well. So thus some features are coming on daily basis in all these cloud-based themes, basically. Yeah. So this is just architecture, like how Azure Sentinel scene looks like, and or a reference SIEM architecture if you are deploying on the ground, it looks like. So both are similar. Only thing is that their complete infrastructure is on data center on cloud. Uh, the cloud is, it's nothing. It's just on Earth only. So it's just located in somewhere away from your plant, simply in different complex inside some server cabinets. So data connectors are same, log data services will be same, just they have their own query languages, like KQL is used in Sentinel. Similarly in Kibana we use different in Kibana queries. You can check this. I think this is same. Now let's move to questions directly, I think.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So I think the first question we have from Mark, we had answered it. Like, what is the main difference between the IT and OT SOC? So it's majorly on the collection of data and the devices that you will be focusing on. You want to add something again, Saurav, on this?
So sorry, I missed difference between IT and OT. So
Yeah,
no, I already cleared, I think.
we had clarified this. Then there is a question on OT attacks are progressively physical system oriented. How do you manage to detect attacks that change the value of set points, for instance?
Yeah, this is called anomaly detection. So if you install a proper solution for that, like if you have worked with Clarity or Nozomi. So nowadays we detect even abrupt change in set point as detected by Nozomi. It also depends on how you have implemented it. So let's suppose you have implemented Nozomi in a passive mode. Uh, yes, it is good, but if it is implemented in an active mode with their polling thing, then that will be more fast and more accurate. So anomaly detection does baseline of your system. So you operate once you release that product in the plant, just commissioned, just after the SATs, like site acceptance test. You have done the learning curve of the Nozomi has been done, or any other solution you have done. So after baselining, if there is some changes, so let's suppose someone changes the set point very far, then it detects and it gives you an alert in control room also. So these are detectable nowadays, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most of the anomaly detection solutions do check this integrity alert and then a configuration change alert. All of these are detected. These are the basic features of these solutions, actually.
Yeah, and I have also seen that now customers are more keen into knowing the process related violations rather than the cyber security related violations. So they have the tools for the cyber security violations, but they also are more keen to know what are the process related violations. So let's suppose that some adversary is already into your network. It could be an insider attack also, and he is violating some in form of the hardware or software that can also be detected through see, like butterfly effect, there could be some impact. Even if someone does something on a transmitter, there will be direct impact on the process. So that could be detected only if there is a baseline deviation mechanism has been put into place.
Exactly. Then there is one more question from Boipelo Kagomo. Is there any certifications in OTC security that one can consider? Though it looks like an open-ended question for OT security as such, but maybe we can answer in context with the uh, security operations in OT security.
Yes, there is a certifications from SANS. It is called GRID, GRID, GRID. I think that focuses more on incident detection, and that could be somewhat beneficial for this thing. But again, I iterate certifications are good enough until you have a hands-on experience. So first, try to gather hands-on experience, learn those things, and once your learning is done, then definitely go for certification.
I think there are, with respect to, from EC Council and SANS also directly, grid is specific to the OT, but in general, if I want to tell, I think GIC security operation, GSOC or something,
Hmm.
that also would be beneficial if someone is interested to know about the operations point of view, like on SOC point. So that can be considered. This is not with respect to OT security, yeah, in generic, yeah.
One more question from Boipelo. Does one have to consider PLC certification like Siemens, or can one approach OTC security strictly from a security point of view? But this is again going into what kind of role I will answer it
Yeah.
concerning in the OTC SOC perspective. That again goes, if you are analyst, then definitely you need to know the understanding of the products. But if you are a generalist, then I think PLC specific certifications are not required as such. And there is
Yeah.
anonymous question, and which is very difficult to answer. Which is your favorite product? Clarity, Nozem, or Dragos?
Mm, Uh, my favorite product is in ranking Nozomi Dragos Clarity.
Yeah, I would not answer that. Then there is again a question from Mark. How was the asset management conducted in lower levels of Purdue model? And do you see the method changing with the introduction of cyber physical systems and IoT? Yeah, so there are already solutions available that can give you the asset management, the same solutions like Clarity, Nozomi. One of the key benefit they give is the visibility of the assets.
Yeah.
And I think there is a one free application also available from one of the vendor. And in fact, now the vendors also give you this capability in their solutions as well. You can ask for an add-on to have a visibility of the assets in the uh, OT systems. But yeah, second part of IoT, definitely you can integrate the IoT logs with your anomaly detection solution, and then it will also become one of the visibility point there.
Yeah.
Okay, one question to you, Saurabh. Is there a need to archive data after a defined period if
Yeah.
there's no security incident reported by SIM in that period?
Yes, so for this you need to follow your regional guidance. So, like I was reading Qatar guidelines, QSAT has their specific guidelines, and in that it is mandatory to keep your data for I think 3 years. So in that case, what you can do, you can just put a tape drive, and in on tape drive you can tape drive are very cheap, and you can archive and just keep it for 3 years, and then you can definitely dispose it off. So you need to check with your regulatory data, and if it's an incident, so that data won't be very much. It could be like 10 GB, 15 GB max. So yes, you can keep it for certain period. That all depends on your data retention policy and what is your regulatory guideline as per your geographical region. So yes, you have to archive it or keep it.
Yeah, so we are end with the questions here, but I have seen one more question somebody asked. Maybe I don't know, some different chat box. What is the data diode, and where it is used in the OT environment? That's the question.
Data diode is a one directional hardware device. So it's a really one directional hardware device. Unless if you are using a flip model is not a one way device. So if that data diode is a one way, physically separated using LEDs where data are transmitted from the LED. So it's a physical separation that nothing can come from the receiver to transmitter. So that we use if we want to send just data from one place to another place. We do not want any back communications. It could be from the DMZ to your SOC center. It could be from DMZ to your SIEM as well. So where we just transfer all those syslog data using data diodes, and there will be, it's a really air gap, so there is no any chances from coming from back channel. So it's a short description. Rather, you can apart from that, you can read about data diodes from Waterfall, Fox IT, and there is one more company, Owl Cyber Defense.
Okay. So yeah, I think we are done with the questions. So these kind of questions about products, they will keep on coming. So I think I don't want to add anything over there. Do you want to add something again, Saurabh? It's asking that which one is the technically superior one out of these. They all of them are
Uh,
working the same.
I think you can connect to me on LinkedIn, and then we can discuss on those things. Apart from that, what you can do, just you can ping my LinkedIn ID in the group, and my blog site, so that if someone wants to buy some of my courses, they can get it from there. I keep on updating my discount coupons there, and you can also connect to me on LinkedIn. So that's all I think from my side.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, so I will put that in the comment box of the same stream.
Yeah.
Maybe quickly you can send that to me, sort of those links. But yeah, thank you. Thanks for your time, Saurabh and Manju. Again, I think we had covered the basics of OT, the difference of OT SOCs versus IT SOCs, what should be the methodology of collecting the data overall, and what should be the role and their skill sets. So that gives a good understanding of setting up a OT security SOC, and uh, I think this would be a good value addition to the people who have joined today. So thanks again. Thanks for taking the time, and thanks to the people who have joined online. And if you like our work, do comment and then maybe tag us or LinkedIn or any other platform of your liking. We are available on YouTube as well for watching our streams. And today I have also started a WhatsApp channel. So there is a link available on LinkedIn if you want to join that channel. So that's also available. And everything
Thank
on
you.
these
Thank you.
platforms are absolutely free.
Yeah,
Okay.
thanks you for arranging this, in short time, and also thanks a lot, Saurabh, for take your time during the weekday and sharing your knowledge with us, all of us. Hope to see the upcoming events. Let's see. Yeah,
Yeah.
thank
Thanks,
you.
everyone. Have a nice time, mate. Bye.
Thanks, everyone.